blankets. Yes. Yes. Okay. Hey. I'm already recording, but I'll just cut this stuff out.
Hello everyone, welcome to Knottyyarnies. My name is Barb. If you're new here, welcome, and if you're a returning viewer, also welcome, and thanks for coming back to join me today. Today is National Earth Day, so it is Wednesday, nope, it's Thursday, April 22nd, and it's Earth Day. And it's also Take Your Sons and Daughters to Work Day, but I don't think that's going to be happening again this year. So we'll go with Earth Day and another great day, National Jelly Bean Day. Sounds good to me. So this is podcast number 26, as you probably have seen from the title. And the first thing I want to just get out of the way and mention is, if you haven't heard the news already, Andrew from Fruity Knitting podcast has passed away, unfortunately. So we want to just say we're all thinking about him and his family, and they're in our prayers. So that happened just a couple of days ago, so I wanted to make sure to mention it in case anyone hasn't heard the news. Also, last week I recorded and posted 3 videos for everyone to view. I hope you've got a chance to look at them. If not, just go back under my podcast, click on my channel name, go click on videos, and under videos it'll be in order, and then you can click on and watch the 3 before this one. And they are, the one was showing off all the different cotton yarns that I dyed during Easter weekend and the weekend before. So if that interests you, go check that out. I talk about how I did all of the colors and just showed off the colors pretty much. Just kind of practicing and dipping my toe in there. And then the other video was I was tagged from Lorraine at Chatelaine Makes, and I'm just thinking of what it's called. 10 questions anyway, and it was started by Crystal over at Bag a Day Crochet. So it's all different questions about Yarny questions pretty much, so go check that out. And then the other one was how the make along is going. So Barb's turning 50 now, 2021, with the hashtag on Instagram, Facebook, and then if you email me as well, and that's over there. And I talk about how my work is going, and I think I was 13 days in, and I showed how much progress I had made in the 13 days. So you'll see quite a bit more of the way it's going too today. So I'm going to talk about it like you haven't watched that video though, so from last podcast to this podcast, because some people just watch the podcasts. So I'm still test crocheting a test crochet, and I've got it here. I'm going to show you how it's going. There's 2 of them actually, and they're a secret, but I can kind of tell you a little bit about those. And I'm going to show you test crochet I finished a week ago, but I'm able to show it now. She released the pattern yesterday, Wednesday, April 21st. So if you're interested in that, I'll tell you how you can get that pattern. I did forget to look up the price. I meant to do that, so maybe if I have to pause the video at one point, I'll mention the price, and I'll put it also down below, so you can click the down bar arrow and all the information, pattern and everything there is down there. If you hear any background noise, my husband's off on holidays this week, and so you might hear him in the background, or the dog, or whatever. The bird's pretty quiet today, but I've been asked to show a little video clip of the bird, and to see, so you can see her. So I'll include that at the very end for you, Evelyn. And also thanks Judy and Lorraine also for commenting about the birds. So, and of course, like I said, Evelyn, the video's at the end of the podcast after you're done watching. Make sure to stay tuned and watch for my little bird. Her name is Pipsqueak, and you'll see her at the end. I got my vaccine last week, and I had got the Pfizer vaccine. I went in with my mom with full intention of not getting the vaccine because I was there with my mom. But they had some cancellations that day, and they said, have you had yours? And I, of course, said no, because we're in the age bracket of 65, no, it was 70 plus that week. So I kind of felt bad because I had all kinds of aunts and uncles and stuff, and they haven't even had their vaccine, and they were just under 70, and here I am 49, and I was able to get it that day. But I had a bit of arm pain. I got in my left arm thinking I would still be able to knit or crochet, and it was sore enough that I couldn't. That day I was okay, but the next day I wasn't. And then I got, what did I have? The next day I felt really, really tired and just lethargic kind of for the whole day. But that's nothing compared to if we got COVID, right? So I've been, oh, what else do we say here? I'll show you, talk about my testing here first. So this is a pattern from Kayla Osborne, and she's over on Ravelry. She has you can see her on Facebook too, but I don't know if it's a public one. But Ravelry, just type in Kayla, K-A-I-L-A. I'll probably put her name up here. And the pattern is called Miami Floral Top, and I use Bernat Handicrafter yarn in the colorway of Pilgrim Peach is the main color here. And then down here on the flower part is my own hand-dyed yarn. So I used the Handicrafter yarn that I showed in the previous videos, and it's a speckled yarn that I used, I believe, an aqua color. And then I put speckles, like purple speckles in it. And the whole sweater, the peach part, was 100 grams. And all I had left from the 100 gram was this little tiny ball left. And then the self-dyed yarn was a 50 gram? No, it was a 100 gram skein. And I used 3/4. This is all I have left from that. Here's it all skeined up the same colorway. You see the speckles in there? So that's what I use this for. And the trim, if you could see the trim around the neck and around the arms. I'll turn this a little bit so you can see the arms. And her pattern, it's more of a crop top. And I adjusted the pattern because I have a little bit heavier chest, so I did 10 extra rows in the chest area before I started the decrease for the waist. And then I wanted the flower part a little bit lower even, so I did a few more rows. I think I'll put on my Ravelry page, my link for my Ravelry projects is in the drop down area as well. And I think I did about 8 to 10 extra rows before I did the flowers. Then I ended down here, just how many rows? 2, 4, about 10 rows at the bottom. And she has on her project, there's some decreased rows at the very end, at the last, but I liked the length. I tried it on and I liked the length it was, so I left it right where it was. I didn't do any more of those decreased rows. I used a 5mm crochet hook. But of course, all that is on the Ravelry page for you to check out. Oh yes, my shirt I'm wearing, I won from Knit Swag, Kelly over at Knit Swag. And yeah, so it's got a super fine weight. Oh, here we go, number 1. So go check out her.
What's next?
So right now I'm only working on the make along for the Barb's Turning 50 make along and some crochet tests. I have no knitted testing right now going on. So the first one I'm working on, I'll put my notes over here. Okay, so the first one I'm working on is housed in this 31 bag, because I need a large bag for an Afghan, right? It is called, it's the Joanne Stitch Along with the Crochet Crowd. Mikey, he's the one doing the videos on YouTube, so he's doing them in 4-week sections, so you can go check that out. It's called the Puffy Flower Fun Day Crochet Blanket, and I'm using a 6mm hook. I'm on the 2nd week still, because I am trying to spread the hours out, so I end by May 19th or May 30th, hoping for the latter, but it's kind of hard to plan out. I'm working a couple hours each day on the 2 separate projects I have going for the make-along. I decided to do an Afghan, and then a week into it I decided that I'm doing a shawl as well. So I'm working a little bit each day on those 2 items. So I'm using, did the 2-color version. The other color version has 4 or 5 different colors in it, but I found it a little busy, so I decided to do the 2-color version. And the 2 colors I'm using is the Pound of Love in the colorway Oxford Gray, and then Fentex Worsted in the colorway, it's a really funny name, called Marrakech. That's all I have left of the one big skein. It's one huge 300-gram skein, but that's all I have left. And then I showed the main piece there the last podcast. I was done with that. So this week I've been doing all the squares that go around, the 18 little squares. Wait a minute, maybe I'll go get the big piece and I'll put it here, so in case you missed last podcast, or I have a feeling I might have been only 3/4 of the way through it. So this week I know I didn't have the ends all darned in, so they're all darned in, so I'll go get that and I'll be right back. What? You're bored.
No, time to sit there and watch that.
Oh, thanks.
So,
I'll make sure to include that in the podcast.
sure what?
Okay, I found it. Here it is. So this is the middle square, and then all the squares I'm going to show you go all the way around it so far, and I've got to block this and the other squares yet and attach them all together, so for week 2 to be done. So this was week 1, so there's 18 puff flower stitches rows, and here, okay, I did these in sequence. So I did 18 of took the gray, and I did the first 2 rounds of the gray. Then I did all 18, and then I took the variegated, I did all 18 around there, sewed all the ends in. Then I did another row of the gray of the 18, did them all, sewed the ends in. Then I moved on to the last section, which was all the variegated color, and it's supposed to be wonky. Mikey's was wonky too, he says, until he steam blocked it. So it should lay flat after that. That's why you steam block it before attaching it to the main square for the center. So here's the last 3 rounds of that. So here is a kind of the idea. This will go here, and then these squares go all the way around. So I did all the little ones here. I did all of those. I'm finished all that, and then I did 1, 2, 3, 4, 8 of the squares so far. So I have 10 more of these to do like this. And for the last 3 rounds, it took me 15 minutes for each one. So to do 10 more rounds will be 2.5 hours, and I'll be done. Then I just have to sew in all my ends for those squares. And then it's on to the blocking, and then that'll be week 2 will be done after I attach them, and then I'll check out what week 3 is about. I haven't even looked ahead, so I don't know. Is this another test? Oh no, the other test that I am doing I can't show because it's from Kayla Osborne as well, and I'm just going to be starting it. I'm going to dye up the yarn and then I'm going to start it. It's not due till I think the end of June, middle of June, so I've got plenty of time to do that. So I won't tell you what it is or anything like that. Next I have to show you. I was playing around with some of my hand-dyed yarn because I wanted to show you guys what it looks like up in knitted, because this is in crochet. So I decided to make some slippers. So I made some of the old granny style slippers that they used to make back in the day, and that's becoming really popular in the knitting world right now. But it calls for a 5.5 millimeter knitting needles, and you make them excuse me, you make them flat, but I think my gauge, it didn't have a gauge at all for you to follow, so I had no clue that my gauge was too loose. So I think my gauge is looser now that I knit continental style, honestly, so usually I drop down a needle size. But these are huge on me, so, and I followed right to a T the pattern. So, but here's the ball of the hand-dyed cotton I used. Turned out really, really pretty. I used 36 grams to make the first slipper. So 36 grams for the first slipper, so I have plenty, because it's out of 100, so I have plenty left to make the second slipper. But I'm at a loss. I'm like, do I just tear this one out and start all over since it doesn't work? Or I was thinking of maybe tying up the heel part so it's a little bit snugger on me, or I have no idea. I would say somebody with a larger foot, but there's nobody with a larger foot that would like these colors in my life. So, because my feet are size 9.5 to 10, and I don't think these would fit anybody. They're more like probably a size 11. So, but that's how we learn, is by doing things and going with the flow, right? But yeah, that's what gauge is for, guys. If there's no gauge and it's a project you're going to spend a lot of time on, I would suggest maybe contacting the designer and asking for their gauge, or yeah, or look in the project pages. That's another thing Ravelry is great for. Look under projects and look to see what people are typing in that their gauge is, so that you can get an idea, so you can make up a swatch and see if your gauge is correct, because you could end up knitting a medium or crocheting a medium, size medium, and it end up being an extra large by the time you're done, just by a matter of a stitch or two being off. So that was another whip. We'll skip back to the make along. So my second make along project I am working on is the shawl. Now the shawl is designed by Sue over at Flock Around the Table. There's a mouthful today. Flock Around the Table, and it's her orgasm wrap, it's called. I'm using oh, first of all, I have it in my Wild Woolly handmade design bag, and I got my collection of little pins at the top. I'm making it out of loops and thread Snuggly Stripes wool in the colorway Goldenrod. Put that back here, pull that out. I am using, oh, my yarn is twisted around one of the pins here. 1 second. There we go. Now, what size of needles are we using here? 4 millimeter. Using 4 millimeter needles. I think I just said hook, but it's needles. I've got them on a 32-inch cord. 32 40 inch. Here it is so far. It'll block to be straight at the bottom. It's going to be a rectangular shawl, so I'm working on the bias. And what else? Oh, it's got my stitch marker from Whimsy and Sassy on there. I showed that one to you before. And that's coming along good. I just work on it maybe about 10 rows a day or something like that. I might not get that one finished because I would like it to be, I don't know, I think about 6-7 feet long, and that will take a while. And my last for my whips, my last whip is something my son got me to make for a friend of his is having a baby. And so we've been wondering what, he knew he wanted to make a blanket. So we've been tossing around different yarns, and I said, well, let's pick the yarn first and then we'll pick a pattern from the yarns. So we went in Ravelry and looked under that type of yarn once he found the yarn he wanted, and then looked for a project under project pages, what blankets there was out there that people used. There wasn't one in this colorway, but it was enough to know what it would look like anyways. So we're using Barcelona in the colorway of Lappy, or Lappy, L-A-P-I-S anyway. It's a number 5 bulky weight yarn. And here's the yarn. All different various shades of grays and blues, which turned out to be perfect because the pattern that he chose, oh darn, I'll put the pattern name up here because I forgot to write that down on my notes. So many notes and I forgot. And this has never been shown on my podcast. I just started it this week. I'm into the second ball, and it's only going to take 2 balls, and then I'm going to do a border around in solid gray. But here it is. So it's kind of perfect that it's blue. It kind of looks like waves. And it's nice and squishy, soft yarn. It'll be great for a baby. She can wash it in cool water, let it tumble dry. It's fine to be washed, not like non-superwash wool or anything. It's fine for the washer and dryer. So that worked out perfect. I'm enjoying working on that. As you can see, I'm almost done the second ball. What is next? This week, this past weekend on the 17th was the Saturday, I played Fiber Hustle Bingo. That was fun. It was nice to have something, you know, something fun like that to do with other people, because, well, if you haven't heard, Ontario's in a lockdown. We have been for 2.5 weeks now, but now it's getting really, really bad, so it's extended for another 4 weeks, so almost till the end of May. So this make-along has been wonderful for myself because it's given me something to focus on, right? So during the bingo, it flips through. I can't see, it's on Zoom, and I can't see, or I haven't figured out how to do it, how to bring up everybody's little pictures. So basically all it shows me on Zoom is every time somebody's talking, it'll switch to that person. So you have to wait till everybody talks that's in the Zoom with you to see who's there. So of course I've seen Chip and Erin from Fiber Hustle, and if you don't know, they're a knitting, crochet, and sewing podcast, and Chip is the one that sews and Erin is the one that knits and crochets. So their prizes are all about knitting, crocheting, yarn, and sewing. And they were the first ones I seen. Then I seen Kevin and Ray from Needles at the Ready were there as well. And then there was Justin from Boozy Bears was there. And who else did I see? Michael from Piece for Piece Crafting. And Gary from Urban Yarns as well. There was a few ladies that I'm not sure who they were yet. I kind of know what they do and stuff. I don't know if they have podcasts. I think they're just creators, honestly, for Etsy. So I'll try to, if anybody needs any links, just let me know down below for anybody, or if you've been there and wanted to know anybody's names, let me know. I could easily find out. And then something exciting happened to me. Was it last night? No, 2 nights ago. Sorry, I'm asking my husband, but he's not answering me. 2 nights ago, we're sitting there and my husband's watching TV, and if he's watching something, sorry, that's my husband right there, his John Deere clock. It every hour plays a different tractor starting up. Like if you're starting up your tractor, it makes that sound of that specific brand type model. That's what it is. Hey?
Motor.
For the motor of that brand. Or
John Deere.
yeah, I said that. John Deere motor. But I said it's the specific, what is it, brand or?
Specific motor.
Pacific.
Because they're all John Deeres.
Oh, they're all John Deere motors, but okay, for a different motor. And anyway, 2 nights ago we're sitting there and he's watching his movie and I'm watching my iPad, watching Cherry Pie Cottage podcast with my one earphone in, and then I can listen and chat with the other one if we're talking. And all of a sudden I see my name go across the screen and them say my name, and I was like, started waving my arms going, oh my god, oh my gosh. So they had a make along, actually it was just a knit along, so it had to be knitted items. So for the month of March I knitted 5 items, and it was called a self-care or treat yourself. It was a treat yourself knit along. So it was held in Facebook and in Ravelry, and I won the Facebook one, group 1. And as Jenny's husband had commented, that I stacked the deck because I had 5 items and there was only one other participant in Facebook and she had 2 items posted. And so I won a skein of Desert Vista Dye Works fingering weight yarn, self-striping finger weight yarn in the colorway Zombody Needs a Cocktail, and it's 75% superwash, 25% nylon, with 462 yards in the skein, and it's coming from Texas, so it'll be a while before I can show you. I will try to remember to put a picture up here of I think it's Jared, her husband, Jenny's husband's name, Jared, holding the yarn. So there's the picture of the colorway, and the timestamp, if you watch Cherry Pie Cottage already, the timestamp when they do the draw with my name is about 23 minutes in, or if you go 22.5 minutes or so, it's right at that timestamp. So go check them out. They're under 1,000 subscribers. Also, they're hand dyers. Jenny's a hand dyer. She also makes bags, and Jared just got into making his own not hand spun. He does his own pens, and he uses resin to make these pens, and he has things in the middle of the pens to you could see through it and see these items. Like they've collected, when they were in Canada at one time, mini pine cones, and he put them in the resin, and then he spun the pen with a lathe of some sort, I'm thinking, and then you could see the pine cones inside the resin. It's really pretty. So he's starting up, I guess, going to be starting to sell those, so you might want to follow them. I got in the mail this week, since my last podcast anyway, a couple of things. Well, one thing that I purchased, and I purchased a drop spindle. Thank you to my niece Hallie, who gave me a gift card for Amazon for Christmas this past year, and I waited and waited to see what I was going to buy with it. So I got the drop spindle. And so I figured I'm going to try this out, start with this, see if I like it first, you know, and then maybe one day I'll watch for a big spinning wheel. Not in a rush. I hear people just like using these anyway, and that's all they ever use. So if you have any great tips, tricks, or anything like that, I'd appreciate to hear, or any where you get your wool from. I ordered 2 from Amazon this week, so they're coming from the UK, so they're right from a farm, and I forget what type of sheep they are, but they say they're have long wool, so it would be easy to start with spinning, so it's a great length for spinning. So can't wait to try that. I will of course show you guys when I get it in, and maybe even take a little video of me trying to finagle my way through trying to do that. And then today, my husband just brought me from the mailbox before I started recording, I got a Hirschner's and a Knit Picks magazine in. I'm sure if you're from the US, you probably got these a week or 2 ago even, but I just got these in today. So after I record, I'm done recording and I'm just uploading. I'll have to take a flip through these because I'm looking for some bare yarn to dye, so Knit Picks is one of the options. Everywhere I seem to see the really nice prices and the nice yarn combined, they're usually from the US, so I haven't found a Canadian one yet that has a good price but also nice feeling yarn. I don't want to have rough yarn. So okay, that's that. What else do I got here? Oh, I'm also this week going to organize my patterns that I have, like printed out patterns, and I have a binder, and I got a bunch of these plastics, and so what I'm going to do is put the patterns, you don't have to see them all the time, right? But just put them in the plastics organized. Well, there it went, just one second. Well, it'll be backwards, but there we go. And even if I wanted to use a erasable marker or something on that, I could cross off, but I'm not planning on doing that. I'm planning on when I have the pattern or using that pattern, I'm going to take it out and put it in my project bag. I'm just going to have them so that I know which patterns I have and I could flip through the binder. So I'm going to do that. And the other thing I wanted to talk about was, oh, my yarn swift here. You probably see my yarn swift sitting here right beside me, and the reason it's right beside me is kind of funny. I had it on a couple areas. I had it on my countertop at one time, and it was sliding and falling as I was winding, and then I had it on my ladder, on the rung of my ladder, and it was falling every time, so I couldn't even get through one skein of yarn to wind, and it was falling. So I then put it on. My husband said it fit on the table. I didn't think it would even fit, but it did fit on the table, but it was doing the same thing. The weight of it just wasn't holding. It was falling backwards. So the next day, then he says, well, what about, I guess you don't want me to screw it to the table. And I'm like, well, yeah, let's do that. So there's one screw. He screwed it right in. It's a solid wood table. Screwed it right in, so it's got to stay in place now, but it's fine because I'm either got lots of skeins to wind or unwind, because when you're unwinding, you put this over there, and then I have my my winder sitting here, and I put one beside the other and then go to town. We'll get them either wound into a cake off of there, or I don't need this to wind the skeins in the first place. That doesn't work. Oh, and then this week I guess I'll be probably ordering my birthday gift from my mom, and whoever else gives me a little bit of money towards it. It'll be my Chowgu knitting needles. I have the one Chowgu knitting needle set from Christmas. My mom give me money, and then I bought it with some of the money, and then, but it's goes to only 2.5 millimeters, and then my husband that he gave me the Addies Rocket Squared for Christmas, and it starts at 3.5. So I'm missing the 2.75 to the 3.5. And then the Addies only goes to the 8mm, and the Chow Booth set I'm going to be getting goes all the way to 10mm. So it'll give me 2 needles at that end and 3 sets at the beginning of the end. So it's interchangeable. And if I was to buy them separately, it would cost double the amount as the whole kit and caboodle costs. So that's the way to go for me, is the interchangeable. I love the other set that I got for Christmas, and they're awesome, so I can't wait to get those. And then I'll be ordering it from a local, I'll say local because it's only like 2 hours away from me, store, and their delivery is like $10. And then if you order 200, either $150 or $200 is free delivery. And I'm going to get it from that store, so it'll cost the most $10 to mail me. And I'm going to get some acid dyes, excuse me, from there as well. They're like $7 for each little color, so I'll be adding those up as well. So that's also what I'm, now let me make sure I didn't forget to mention anything. Nope, that seems to be it. So guys, I hope you have a great week. I will try to make sure I record again next week. It won't be as long because I'll just be working on the mal, probably all likelihood the 2 items, and and the baby blanket. So I'll have that, maybe I'll have that even finished by my next podcast to show you. Yeah, and yeah, let me know down below anything that I've asked you. Stay tuned after I finish talking and say goodbye and watch my little 20-second clip of my little bird Pipsqueak. She's a zebra finch. You might notice she has no head feathers left, and that's because we had a male in with her, and we had a nest at one time in there, and he was really, really good with her when the nest was in there. Then we removed the nest because, no, he wasn't really good. Sorry, I scratched that. He was being really mean to her when the nest was in there. He was pecking at her, pecking at her, pecking at her. So then we had read somewhere if you remove the nest, he will be better. So we removed the nest and he stopped. But it was too late, and their head feathers don't grow back. Or their feathers, I guess, don't really grow back once they're pulled out. So, but he's been gone for 3 years now, and she's at least 7 years old. We got her 7 years ago. And so, yeah, so enjoy the little clip of her, and we'll see you all next time. And be sure to follow the hashtag on Instagram, Barb's Turning 50, 50, not the word 50, just Barb's Turning 50 Mal. I'll put it up here. 2021 on Instagram, or go on to Facebook, onto the Knottyyarnies Facebook group, or email me, drop down arrow down there. My email address is knottyyarnies@gmail.com. Look forward to all your photos, guys, and let me know how if you are in on it, let me know how you're doing. I'd love to see pictures again, guys. It's been about a week since I've heard how anybody's doing. So take care, everyone, and keep on being naughty. Bye-bye.
Chirp, 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 chirp.
Beep. 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 Pipsqueak. Beep. Beep, beep, beep.